Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining me today because we have some very exciting General Hospital news to talk about, and it's definitely worth the wait. I'm telling you, the more I sit with this whole situation on General Hospital, the more it just sticks with me in a way that's hard to shake off. Like one of those stories you carry around all day and keep turning over in your mind while you're doing the dishes or folding laundry. Because what's happening with Willow Kane right now, this isn't just another little bump in the road. This feels like the kind of slow unraveling that only shows up when something inside a person has been building for far too long. I keep picturing her in that April 17 episode, walking into that confrontation with Jacinda Bracken, and I swear I can almost feel the tension before a single word is even said. It's that kind of moment where the air feels heavy, like right before a thunderstorm breaks. And the thing is, part of me understands why Willow is so wound up. When I heard about little Wiley Corinthos asking about that awful word, I just paused and thought, oh honey, that's not something a child should even have to think about, let alone say out loud. That kind of moment hits deep, especially for a mother who already feels like her world is slipping through her fingers. But here's where it starts to turn, and I mean really turn, in a way that makes me uneasy. Because instead of stepping back and seeing the whole picture, Willow is narrowing her focus, almost like she's looking through a tunnel. She knows that Harrison Chase told her what happened, and from that point on, it's like her mind just locked onto one idea, that Jacinda is the source of all this trouble. And I get it, I really do, because when you're hurt and scared, your mind wants something simple, something clear to blame. But life doesn't work that way, and deep down, I think Willow knows that too. She just doesn't want to admit it. Because if she did, she'd have to face the truth that the situation with Wiley didn't come from Jacinda's past alone. It came from adults losing control, from words thrown around carelessly, from a house full of tension that a child just happened to overhear. But instead of holding on to that truth, Willow is rewriting the story in her head. She's telling herself that if Michael Corinthos had made different choices, if he hadn't brought Jacinda into their lives, none of this would have happened. And once that thought settles in, it starts to grow, twisting everything else around it. And the way she's reacting to Jacinda spending time with Wiley, that's the part that really gets under my skin, because on the surface, it looks harmless. A woman connecting with a child over simple things, sharing little interests like bugs and games, creating those small, easy moments that kids remember. But to Willow, that's not innocent, not anymore. Every laugh, every smile, every moment Jacinda shares with Wiley feels like something being taken away from her. And that kind of feeling, that's not just jealousy, that's fear, plain and simple. I can almost see the thoughts running through Willow's mind, and they're not gentle thoughts either. They're loud, fast, and relentless. She's not just worried about today, she's jumping ahead, imagining a future that hasn't even happened yet. A future where Michael builds a life with Jacinda, where Wiley grows up seeing her as a steady presence, maybe even as family. And in Willow's mind, that possibility doesn't just hurt, it terrifies her. Because it makes her feel replaceable, like she's losing her place bit by bit without even realizing it. And let me tell you something, once a person starts feeling like that, they don't always act in ways that make sense. They act in ways that protect that fear, even if it means pushing people away or lashing out at the wrong person. That's exactly where Willow is heading. She's not just reacting anymore, she's spiraling. Every little thing adds fuel to the fire. Every glance, every interaction, every moment that confirms the story she's building in her head. So when she finally stands face to face with Jacinda, I'm not expecting anything calm or reasonable. No, this is going to be one of those moments where everything spills out, where emotions take over and logic just steps aside. And the truth is, Jacinda might walk into that confrontation thinking she can explain herself, maybe even smooth things over. But I don't think Willow's in a place to hear any of that. Not right now. Right now, she's too far inside her own fear. And what really stays with me, what really makes me pause and think, is that this doesn't feel like the end of Willow's behavior. It feels like the beginning of something much bigger, something darker. Because once someone starts justifying their anger the way she is, once they start bending reality to fit their fears, it becomes easier and easier to take that next step and then the next one after that. I've watched this show long enough to know how these things go. And if there's one thing Port Charles never does, it's let a storm pass quietly. And right now, Willow isn't just caught in that storm. She's becoming it. I'm going to be honest with you. The deeper I sit with this whole situation on General Hospital, the more it feels less like a simple custody story and more like watching someone slowly lose their balance right in front of our eyes. And I don't say that lightly. Because when I think about Willow Kane finally getting her children back after months of separation, I do feel that warmth at first, that sense of justice almost, like, all right, maybe things are finally turning around for her. I can picture her holding Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos a little tighter than usual, breathing them in like she's trying to make up for lost time. And if you've lived long enough, you know, that kind of love comes with a whole lot of fear attached to it. But here's where my heart starts to feel uneasy. Because getting your children back is one thing, but stepping back into their everyday life like nothing changed, that's a whole different story. Children adjust, they build new rhythms, they form attachments, and whether Willow wants to admit it or not, she's walking into a space that kept moving without her. And that realization, oh honey, that can sting deeper than anything. It's not loud, it's not dramatic at first, it's quiet, but it sits there, whispering doubts into your mind. And I can just feel those doubts growing stronger every time she sees Michael Corinthos allowing Jacinda Bracken to be around the kids. Now, maybe from the outside it looks harmless, maybe even kind, but from where Willow stands, that's not kindness, that's replacement. That's someone else stepping into a role she just fought tooth and nail to reclaim. And once that thought takes hold, it doesn't sit still, it grows, it twists, it turns into something much bigger than the reality in front of her. I keep thinking about how Wiley has connected with Jacinda, those little shared interests, the easy laughter, the comfort that comes naturally between them. To a child, that's innocent, that's simple. But to Willow, it's a warning sign. It's proof in her mind that if she doesn't act, she might lose her place all over again. And that fear is what's driving everything now. Because let's not pretend we haven't seen this side of Willow before. When I remember what happened to Drew Kane, I still get that chill, that feeling like something shifted in her that day. Shooting him was already shocking, but going further, making sure he couldn't fight back, leaving him in that helpless state, that wasn't just desperation, that was calculation. That was someone deciding that the end justified the means, no matter how dark those means were. And once a person crosses that line, it becomes a lot easier to cross it again. So now, when I think about this upcoming confrontation between Willow and Jacinda, I don't see a simple argument, not even a heated one. I see a breaking point. I see Willow walking into that moment already carrying all this fear, all this anger, all this sense that she's running out of time to fix things. And people who feel like they're running out of time, they don't always choose the safe path. Sometimes they choose the fastest one. There's a part of me that wonders if Willow has already started justifying something in her mind, telling herself that removing Jacinda is the only way to protect her family, to secure her place, to make sure her children don't slip away again. And that's the kind of thinking that scares me the most, because it doesn't feel wrong when you're inside it. It feels necessary. And poor Jacinda, I don't think she fully understands the storm she's stepping into. From her perspective, she's just building a connection, being present, maybe even caring in a way that feels natural. But she's walking straight into someone else's fear, someone else's territory. And in Port Charles, that's never a safe place to be when emotions are this high. I can almost feel that confrontation already, the tension thick in the air, the kind that makes your chest tighten before anything even happens. And the truth is, I don't think this ends with just words or even just anger. It feels like one of those moments where everything could tip over into something irreversible. Because Willow right now isn't just trying to rebuild her life, she's trying to control it. And when control becomes the goal instead of healing, that's when people start making choices they can't take back. The more I think about it, the more I believe this is only the beginning of a much darker road for her. Not a quick fall, not a sudden explosion, but a slow unraveling, piece by piece, where each decision pushes her a little further away from the person she used to be. And as much as I want to believe she'll stop before it's too late, I've watched enough of this town to know that sometimes, by the time you realize how far you've gone, there's no easy way back.